This first 9 is in the thousands position. The digit to the right is a 9, which means add 1 to the first 9. The final answer approximated to the nearest thousands will be 0.790 because 1 plus 89 is 90. 0.790. Multiplying this number by 100 simply moves the decimal 2 spaces to the right. "79% of the passengers aboard the Titanic were male." What percent of the passengers were men who died? "1,360 men died aboard the Titanic out of the 2,223 passengers." "1,360 men died out of 2,223 passengers." Approximating this number to the nearest thousandths, I look at the second 1. The 7 to the right means to add 1 to 1 for an answer of 0.612. Multiplying this number by 100 simply moves the decimal 2 spaces to the right. "61.2% of the passengers were men who also died." What percent of the passengers were boys who died? There were 35 boys who died out of the 2,223 passengers. 35 boys died out of 2,223 passengers. The 5 is in the thousandths position. Looking at the 7 to the right means to add 1 to the 5 for an answer of 0.016. Multiplying this number by 100 simply means the decimal moves 2 spaces to the right. "1.6% of the passengers were boys who also died." What percent of the passengers were males who died? The 1,360 men who died combined with the 35 boys who died out of the 2,223 passengers. "1,360 men died, 35 boys died out of the 2,223 passengers." "1,395 males died." If I approximate this answer to the nearest thousandths, the 7 is in the thousandths position. That 5 means to add 1 to 7 for an answer of 0.628. Multiplying this number by 100 simply moves decimal 2 spaces to the right, or 62.8% of the passengers were males who also died. I recently asked my evening statistics class how many children they had. This is a list of data I collected. There were many zeros, some ones, some twos, and few threes. The zeros represented no children as answers. The ones represented one child as answers. The two represented two children, and the three represented three as answers. It was difficult to make any sense of this sort of data, so I decided to organize my data into a frequency table. How frequent did each data value show up? The data value 0 represents no children, in which 30 students answered no children. The data value 1 represents the number of people that had one. 8 students had one child. The data value 2 represents 2 children, so 6 students had 2 children. The data value 3 represents 3 children, so 4 students answered that they had 3 children. This is a histogram representing the data that I collected. Notice that 30 students, as a bar, had no children. 8 students at a bar had 1. 6 had 2, and 4 had 3. How many students were in the class? Adding the frequency, the 30 students that answered 0, the 8 that answered 1, and the 6 that answered 2, combined with the 4 that answered 3, gives us 48 answers, representing 48 students. The total number of data values labeled by the value n is the sum of the frequencies. We can always determine from a frequency table how much data was collected by simply adding the frequencies. Being a good student in probability and statistics requires one to have some fundamental language skills. Language is very important. What percent of the class has no children? No children means 0 children.